On December 22nd, 1989, the same year Castlevania Adventure came out for the Game Boy, Akumajou Densetsu, or Legend of the Evil Demon Castle, was released in Japan. It was the sixth installment in the Castlevania series, however, the third to be released on the Famicom System/NES, making this a trilogy. North America would get to see its release in September of 1990, making Europe the later releasing date being 1992. According to the official booklet, Dracula's curse would take place in 1476, 215 years exactly before the events of Castlevania and Simon's Quest, meaning the protagonist, Trevor Belmont, would be the man to defeat Dracula for the first time. However, he was not alone. In the game, you could choose to travel alone or travel with a partner, or in this case, Spirit. The allies would be as follows: Grant, a pirate turned ghost who would later on side with Trevor to defeat Dracula after being defeated by Trevor. Sypha, a mysterious cloaked figure who was turned to stone by a Cyclops. And Alucard, a vampire human who slumbered for quite some time until defeated by Trevor to join him in fighting against his father. The game would suffer the largest crippling blow with its localization. For example, Konami would, but Nintendo had strict policies but was okay with it, keep its religious symbols in the American version, such as the opening when Trevor was praying, minus the glint in the Japanese version. The gameplay, however, would seem to be difficult in the American version, making the game its ultimate hardcore enduring for fans and players. In the Japanese version, Trevor's name is Ralph. While the game was released in 1990, the American version would have a special sweepstakes simply put as win a radical trip to Dracula's hometown. The grand prize would be a trip to Romania for a week with all expenses paid for the winner and their families, which would be a trip for four, which was set to be during Halloween of 1991. The slogan reads from its details inside the game box and states, "Prepare to win a radical trip to Dracula's hometown. Are you ready for a bloody good time in Transylvania? We will send you there to see the legendary Dracula's castle and the haunting grounds. If you win this 1 week, all expenses paid, bone-chilling grand prize trip for four during Halloween 1991. Does anyone remember this contest? Who won? But most importantly, did they come back from Transylvania? The contest ended on March 15th, 1991. Some speculate it was that guy they all went to high school with. However, according to most people, Romania was revolting in 1989, ending the communist regime, which made the contest null and void. Basically, there was no winner. Also, in 1991, a sequel to the Castlevania Adventure would be released, aptly known as the Castlevania 2, but its real name, Castlevania 2, Belmont's Revenge. Again, the player would take control of Christopher Belmont once more, but this time, he would fight his own son as he vanished into thin air by Dracula's evil magic, and then later take on Dracula himself 15 years later. The game would be released in Japan on July 12, 1991, and then in the US in August of 1991, but Europe would not see its release until November of 1992. Plus, in 1991, both Sega and Nintendo would compete in console-wise, but Castlevania would return on Nintendo's new swan song, the Super Famicom, aka the Super Nintendo. On October 31st, 1991 in Japan, Super Castlevania 4 will be released on the Super Famicom, and then be released in the US on December 4th, 1991. Europe would not get its release until 1992. It would be a whole new facelift for Simon Belmont and the other denizens of Castlevania. With new levels, extreme difficulty, Universal Classic Horror monster bosses, and new bosses such as Slugger and Guy Bone. This was another Haunted Castle remake, but with an all-new facelift. Simon can use his whip in 8 different directions and moonwalk his way out of tight jams. But unfortunately, Dracula has one form, but hearing Simon's new theme from the first level, kicking his butt, is refreshing in the final boss fight with the Dark Lord himself. As there was no US or Japan release of Castlevania in 1992, it would be dry for a whole year. However, there would be another facelift for Simon again in 1993 for the X6800 16X TurboGrafx computer in Japan, named Akumajao Dracula, with a simplified level system, but maintained tough difficulty. Another Castlevania game for the TurboGrafx would be released as well, but it's simply known as, in English, Rondo of Blood, or the Japanese name Akumajao Denatsu X. Rondo of Blood would tell another fabled Belmont, but this time, a man with superhuman strength and item crashes by the name of Richter Belmont. The storyline would bring Richter to rescue 3 women from the evil clutches of Dracula. Aid you later on in the game, and bring his girlfriend, nameless third chick. With Castlevania now branching off from Nintendo and the other past consoles such as the Amiga and the Commodore, will Castlevania